real push forward in industry to hire women into leadership roles and to promote them into spaces that they can influence and engage so that the future generation of engineers can learn from them and also see what they could potentially aspire to be like.
Things that companies do well to keep women in engineering stay in the field, so to be able to attract them and also retain them. Probably the biggest contributor to retaining women is making sure you've got women that are front and centre.
In technical industries, often you see women in senior leadership roles around HR or safety, but being able to see senior engineers that have progressed through an organisation or have moved careers, I think that's a really important one.
It's starting with that equity base in mind, where you're hopefully starting with 50% male, female, plus or minus 5%, it varies year on year. It really does encourage women to stay there for their career. Also consider aspects like, do they have strong mentorships, coaching and allies within the organisation?
So within an organisation, early on, being able to actually get mentors, have a structured sponsorship program on how does this person actually progress through our ranks, having those formal programs to progress.
The policy level is a really important step. You really want to make a statement and intent towards seeing that you have engineers, female, in your organisation. And from there, the practices will naturally follow. Policy is great, but really those practices day to day around how you set up your office, how you manage your work, how you interact with other team members and embrace the concept of diversity, that's the first place to start from what I've seen.
Even in the job ad itself, how do you attract them? So making sure that you've got actual language in the job ad that doesn't actually only encourage male, and there's a lot of inherent bias in that. So having actually a diverse panel, it can be quite daunting if you're a young female engineer and you've just come into quite a male-dominated industry, being greeted with three men staring at you. So having diverse panels and being able to actually ask diverse questions versus maybe just the technical.
Start with equity, really target having that equitable workforce and also support networks, looking at structured career progression tailored to the individual based on their needs as they flex and ebb throughout their work cycle.
Where you're in your early career, you're looking for support, you're looking for growth, you're looking at how will I progress, how will I learn, how will I expand my skills, what do those skill sets look like. I think when you're in your mid-career to sort of later career, you're asking questions around how do I lead this? So the things that set those organisations apart are what do they have in terms of supporting those women through that stage of their career journey.
Retention's a really tricky detail. Often when women leave to go on parental leave or for carer leave, it's very hard to come back into the workforce. And so I'm quite lucky to be part of a whole cohort of women who've taken advantage of flexible work hours. This has really helped me maintain balance between not just my work life, my private life, but also being a mum and a primary carer for key family members in my family.
Go beyond mentorship. So a lot of people actually talk about mentorship and so on. I would encourage that to be a lot more of a structured program, and so that you're actually seeing back to those career paths. What are those career paths? And I'd recommend early on, yes, get a mentor, but also make sure that the organisation has some kind of structure around their mentorship versus, hey, we're just catching up every couple of months just for the sake of it.
Well, I think it always comes with senior leadership driving responsibility, and certainly they can set policy and practice. But once that policy is in place, it really comes down to all leaders in an organisation to follow and walk together in step and see that the changes are made. And we all know that one person standing up and calling out a practice that should be changed to allow a greater sense of diversity in an organisation can make a large difference.
There are two resources that I think a young engineer needs to have. One is trust in self. I know this sounds like a small, a slightly ambiguous answer, but really having that trust in your own direction, your own capability, and your own potential will go a long way to your career. The second is seek out key stakeholders or mentors, people that you can rely on for information, but unbiased advice when sometimes you're faced with challenges or when you want to have the next career leap.
Groups that can help you get through some of those challenges are your peer support network, your mentoring groups, WEAC, and also any other alumni groups that you're a part of.
So when you think about female engineers navigating the early stages of the course of their careers, the two things I'd recommend they think about is one, self-belief. Believe in yourself that you're capable of actually doing what you've been hired to do, because no one else is going to be there to support you in the same way as you can support yourself. So whatever challenges are thrown at you, whether that's misogyny or a lack of appreciation of diversity and inclusion, then really back yourself all the way. The second one that aligns to that is really find an ally and a mentor who can champion you and support you through those ups and downs and really help you get ahead.
Someone has to be a pioneer. You know, it's important that they keep that journey going, so that then people can follow behind you.
Diversity has traditionally not been on your side if you're a woman in the mining industry. However, thankfully things are changing now. And so really being able to tap into some of the work that's been done around career progressing and career mapping is an important tool. Understanding whether or not you want to be a technical person or you want to move into a people management role, this really shapes the direction that you take in your career.
Make sure you're talking about where you're at within your leadership network. You should be able to talk to your leaders around the circumstances you're feeling. But it can be the case that you are on your own, and we've certainly seen individuals seek support from outside their organisation to make a change and see that they're getting that support.
Keep those networks alive, because what often I've found is, when people talk to you, they're having a similar challenge maybe in an organisation. If they're talking to someone from another organisation, they're going through the same challenges. There's a lot of shared learnings. So yeah, keeping that mentoring, keeping those relationships alive, not just within your organisation, but also externally, and even people that you went to university with. Where are they now? They're probably working in different organisations, different cultures. Being able to continue those relationships and connections will actually add a lot of value to you as well.
Even though you might feel like the odds are stacked up against you, and you might feel that your path is very, very lonely, and that you're walking the path alone, other people have been there before. So it's really important to realise that in those moments, and then know that you've got a variety of people that will help you through those sorts of challenges.
When diversity isn't on your side, really you've got a couple of approaches. One, you can push and coerce to get the company to get on board with supporting women in the workforce. Two, if all of that fails, find a company that will support that and move on. Three, also before you do that though, do consider partnering with your HR business partner. They may be able to provide tricks and traits that can help you have those more challenging conversations when you are faced with misogyny.
I'd also advise to internally look at that concept around continuous learning. Continuous learning is one of those key attributes. You never know what you don't know, so look outside the box and search for that information. That will empower you to make decisions of your future.
So you bring something that's quite unique, and in an organisation you may not fit culturally, but if you actually understand your own value proposition, what you're actually helping the business succeed and continuing to learn, that's something that no one can actually take away from you, regardless of what the culture is around you.
When you first join the workforce, if you do find yourself in the unfortunate situation where you're finding quite a misogynistic workforce, one, realise you are not alone. There are people out there just like you facing the same challenges and hurdles.
An unsupportive environment can be a common thing for new engineers or new to industry workers. I think one of the big things is resilience. Being able to look internally and have internal fortitude and be able to look around you and see whether or not there are people there that can help develop you, that you can build trust with, and so that you can get that support.
Looking for allies, perhaps in the workforce, that can help support you through those challenges and give you tools and tricks to deal with that. Also, look within the organisation, are there other roles available perhaps in different sections or different departments that may not have the same challenges that you can transition into? And 3, perhaps if you haven't already started this journey, really look to develop a network of mentors and allies that perhaps can help you find that next role or transition into an alternative career path.
When you feel that you're in an environment that's really unsupportive, especially in your early years, I think what makes a difference is being able to lean on your support networks, but also have in mind a bit of an exit strategy. So even though you might have a strategy going in, it's also really good to have a bit of a plan B, plan C, plan D type of thing where on that exit strategy you will think to yourself, and it's not really about like, this is too hard, I want to quit. It's more around thinking, okay, what do I want to get out of this role? Who are the people I can rely on? And if things start feeling like I'm not meeting those milestones, I'm not hitting these goals, or I'm really unhappy actually, then you know that you've thought about those triggers, and then you've thought about how you would approach it. So you've got a little bit of a strategy there. So that's what I mean by having a bit of an exit strategy in place.
There's always the opportunity to lean on mentors or other people around you, like other graduates or young engineers who might also be similarly going through the same thing.
Ensuring that your workplace actually knows where you're at and seeking the support you need when you're in those circumstances is key. Obviously, we've heard a lot of stories about people connecting outside of the organisation to receive support. It isn't always the case that within your organisation there's someone going through the same circumstances. I guess my learnings from being on the council are there is someone going through what you are going through somewhere else. And if you can connect with those people, and ideally through a network such as the Women in Engineering Council, you can find resources and support that will help you through that journey.